We're going to look at Adobe here on the weekly chart. You can see that basically this 359 area is going to be the place of concern. Today we opened at 359.51, had a high of 362 in here, low of 348, and basically Adobe followed the trend with the overall markets, right? So your spiders, they kind of dipped there from 11 to 12 and then had that nice recovery at the end of the day, for the second half of the day, that is. And Adobe did the same thing, but there for like the last like 20 minutes, gave up pretty much everything. And then even in after hours now, basically gave up all those gains from the second half of the day and is trading down here by its daily lows, which is right around 349. So it's going to be interesting to see where this thing actually opens up at tomorrow. We going to gap up and stay above that 350, or are we going to be gapping down and staying below that magic 350 number? All in all, 350 is the number we're looking at, but resistance wise, 359, that's our main area of concern as far as a harsh resistance for us that we need to break and hold before we start confirming and stepping higher. Now, above the 359, what are we looking at? Well, you got this 9-day EMA here on the weekly, and you have this 384 area. That is going to be key for us. So if we can hold the 350s, or 359 areas, then it should be a just quick little jump here into that 384 area. And then above that, you're going to be looking at this upper trend line here. That's going to be right at that $400 mark. But until then, we have to kind of get above those 359. Support wise, what are we looking at? Well, obviously 350, nice round whole number. We said it's going to be the kind of the magic number going forward. So if we are staying below 350, then obviously our next support is going to be down here at this 330 or the 331 mark. And that's going to line up nicely here with our lower trend line. You can see that we actually touched our lower trend line in last week's trading session. So our trend line is confirmed in here. We gapped up obviously today, but if anything happens in here or starts to go south, then we know that we have a good bounce off of the 330s or the 331s in here incoming. So that should be our max pain in here, especially with the RSI oversold as much as it is. Now, if we go to the daily chart, you can actually see how much volatility we've had in the past week or so, and you can still see that we have some gaps here and here that we need to fill and worry about on the daily chart. Those are going to be respectively right at 367 and right here at 378. And you can kind of see, again, this 384 price point in here that we're kind of targeting. You can kind of see it a little bit clearer on the daily chart, and you just see how much that was a support and a resistance for us even as early as a couple weeks ago. So that is why we're saying 384 is kind of the number in there if the 359s can hold and we can start to climb higher here in Adobe. Now your IV in here has decreased or contracted a little bit, obviously, with the green day and on Friday. And then today's, you had a little bit of volatility there in the middle of the day, but then you kind of gave it all up right at the end of the day. So volatility contracted, IV right around 45. So you have right around a $9 expected move in here by this week. And it looks like your markets in here are relatively wide, but decent enough volume in here if you want to play with. So especially if you get closer to like the nice whole numbers, 360, 370, 350, things like that. Your markets obviously are going to be tighter there rather than those 352 and 357.5 strikes, right? So if you want to stay with those nice whole numbers, your spreads are going to be better, where your spreads are only going to be off probably by 60, 70 cents rather than like a dollar or something like that. But you have a $9 expected move by this weekly expiration. If you go to, I'm sorry, that's weekly expiration on Thursday. If you go to next Friday, you have right around a $16 expected move, and you go all the way out to your May expiration, monthly expiration, right around a $27 expected move in here. So we'll see what happens in Adobe. All in all, what are we looking at? 350 is our magic number, right? So keep that in the back of your mind. But 359, first harsh resistance above that, then it shouldn't be a short jump into these 384s in here on the weekly. And then below 350, you should have the 330s or the 331s coming up very soon. All right, guys, if you like this video, make sure to check us out on all of our social media. We also have a Discord service if you are interested, and you can find all of our socials in the description below.